So where did you live as a child?
Well, I lived in Brooklyn, New York for the first 14 years of my life, and I came to Altoona when I was 14, in time to start Altoona High School.
Okay, how did your family observe Jewish traditions?
Well, these pictures that I showed you, these people were Orthodox in their Jewishness, and I can remember the Passover Seder, and I was probably 5 or 6 or 7 years old, and it seemed to me it went forever, but I know it went for a couple of hours, and everybody, they said every word in the Haggadah, and all the praying was in Hebrew, because that's the way they did it. And that was both of my grandparents, and I remember very well those the Passover Seders. And my grandfather went to a little shul in Brooklyn. There was a big shul, a big synagogue called Temple Beth Israel, where I was bar mitzvahed, but he went to a little shul that was like a corner store. And if you ever go to New York, you'll see that on odd-numbered streets, there are houses, and then on the even avenues, there were stores. And some of the Jewish people, like my grandfather, all came from a place in Russia together, and their rabbi came with them. And they would rent one of these little shuls, one of these little stores, and that's how they would pray. And actually, my grandparents on my mother's side went to a kind of a very small little shul too, like a one-story building. It wasn't like you think of a big shul with 3 or 4 stories and a pointed roof. They were just flat little stores.
What's your favorite holiday, Jewish holiday?
I guess I like Passover if I have to pick one. I like matzo ball soup and the food.
Okay. Were you always a member of a Jewish synagogue or temple?
When I came to Altoona, my mother, whose husband had passed away, married a man from Altoona whose wife had passed away, and his name was Joe Sherman, and he was a member of Temple Beth Israel. So when I came here, my sister and I both went to Temple Beth Israel. We went to the Sunday school there, and we were confirmed there. And then I stayed as a member there, and your mother was bat mitzvahed there, and your Uncle Josh was bar mitzvahed there. And now I belong to Temple Beth Israel and Agudath Achim. So I have membership in 2 congregations. I don't know if that makes me more Jewish or not, but I have 2 memberships.
When did you get married?
I got married June the 7th, 1958. 48 years ago. 49 years ago.
Who did you marry?
I married Bonnie, your grandmother Bonnie, whose maiden name was Rubenstein.
Okay. Okay. What does Judaism mean to you?
It's kind of a tough question to just answer off the top of one's head, but I always think of myself as being Jewish. I grew up, as I said, in Brooklyn, where just about everybody was Jewish where I grew up. And my parents and my grandparents were Jewish, so I felt that I was Jewish as a part of that family, just almost as if it was a genetic thing. Of course, it probably isn't truly a genetic thing, but I just, by the generations, I was Jewish because I came from generations of Jews. But when you think about it a little more deeply, when I think about it a little more deeply, I think that being Jewish means to be aware of the Torah and aware that the 10 Commandments came down on Mount Sinai to Moses, and the ethical considerations of being Jewish, I think, are right, and I believe in them. I can't always say I follow them, but I do believe in them. And I think my feeling about Judaism is a combination of my family being Jewish and my being Jewish as a result of being a member of that family. And as I've studied in later years and I've learned a little bit about the Torah and the Ten Commandments, I think that I see the ethical part of Judaism as being very important, and I'm very proud to be Jewish. And I think I would choose it if I were it, but I didn't have to choose. It was just happened to me.
Okay, well, is there anything you'd like to add?
I'd like to add that I'm very pleased that you chose to interview me, since I'm not really a millionaire, but I am your grandfather.
Yeah.
So that gives me a special consideration. And thank you very much for interviewing me.
Thank you, Grandpa.
You're welcome.